Do do do, theme song. Do do do, I'm broke so this is my theme song. Do do do, just imagine this is an awesome theme song. Do do, theme song. Left of the box. Hello everyone, welcome to Left of the Box. Bonjour, bienvenue. I'm Sandy, and over here we have Marc
Hi everybody,
Joycey.
it's me, Mark.
Yeah, fans of the show have seen him quite a few times. I think you're my most regular guest.
I'm honored, so thank
Mm-hmm.
you.
Yeah, and I wanted to bring you on because there's some hoopla, something like that happening in Nova Scotia. And you're the Nova Scotian correspondent for Left of the Box.
Hey, that's a good. I should put that in my description next time.
uh, so I know this isn't a regular time that I normally do a stream, and I didn't really warn people. People who were watching yesterday knew that this was going to happen. I just didn't know when at the time. So hi, it's happening now. And hopefully we'll get some people starting to populate the SandBox and start playing in there so we don't feel so lonely. And I can get somebody doing the thumbs up to make sure that the audio and visual is okay, because I always like having my SandBox producers do that. Because we could be talking here and who knows, like it says my audio is working, but it doesn't necessarily mean it is. You know what I mean, right, Mark?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
all the time.
So today what I wanted to talk about is certain restrictions on people's freedoms. They're being stripped away. Our freedom to go into a tinderbox and potentially start a forest fire that would wipe out communities. We're not allowed to do that in Nova Scotia. And people in Alberta are pissed.
Oh, I can't wait to hear what the people in Alberta have to say about this.
Like it's
That's
just
his opinion I've been waiting for.
it's so funny because I've been on social media and people have been blowing up about this. And it is a lot of like the Albertans conservatives that are like, oh, our rights are being stripped away. And it's like, when exactly were you going to go hiking in Nova Scotia? Like, how is
Oh,
your
don't you know
right?
they all have their plane tickets fully paid for already?
Uh-huh. No, that's and we were joking about it yesterday on my live stream, and somebody's like, how long would it take to hike to Nova Scotia from Alberta? They'd be at
I
it
would
for a
see you
while.
next year.
They'd be at it for a while. And so it's just another flashpoint, no pun intended, for a lot of the conservatives and right wing to get mad at safety precautions. Like, I'm actually still surprised that they haven't decided to do like a retroactive backlash over seatbelts. It is, yeah. And one of the tweets I saw, apparently there was a similar ban just a couple years ago. Like, this isn't a new thing.
Well, we had a big burn ban
Mhm.
because of we. It's for folks who don't know. A few years ago, we actually had a gigantic fire around a residential area in Tantallon, Nova Scotia. My aunt, luckily, was her house was spared, but was very, very close. Um, and so the fines went up from like, and you'll have to correct me. I believe it was like $750 or 500, $750 to $25,000 for violating a burn ban. Um, this wasn't going in the woods. This was just you cannot burn if there's a burn ban.
Mhm.
And you get 25,000. It's not new. We've had this for like 2 or 3 years now,
Mhm.
and it's because we had a gigantic fire in a residential area.
Yeah. And I know in my neck of the woods, huh? See what I did there? Huh? Huh? Neck of the woods. Uh, we regularly have things like burn bans too. Because you never know. Oh, Grand Theft Autobot just jumped in the sandbox saying because They're the one that figured out how long it would take to do the hike. It would take 45 days to hike from Alberta to Nova Scotia, but there's evidently a ferry somewhere on that hike. So take your break there.
It's a lot. You would have to keep going
You
and
know, by
going
the
the whole time.
time they actually finished the hike, I'm pretty sure the ban would be over.
Knock on wood, we're supposed to get rain this week at
Mhm,
some point, and
mhm,
that's knock on wood. So, but
mhm.
yeah,
Yeah, so this is like, to me, this is nothing new, these types of restrictions. It's just, I don't know. Let's just blame everything on Twitter because it seems like now on Twitter, they're seeking things to be outraged about so much that a few years ago there wasn't that same veracity for it. And so now suddenly things that have been happening for a while, you get all this backlash about it. And I think one of the prime examples for me when this started was the whole trans women in Olympics, because that had been allowed for years. Nobody was saying boo about it, but then suddenly it became a big deal because a couple right wingers made it a big deal. And like, I'm pretty sure anyone across the country who lives near woods or anything that is, combustible knows that some summers there are times when you are not allowed to have open flames. There are some summers, ooh, this one is really, I'm sure they would get so pissed at this. You're not allowed to water your lawn on odd days or wash your car on odd days. Only
mm,
even days. Can't be on an odd day. Like, there's been bans like that as well, requests to limit your consumption of water. Although I haven't had one of those in a while, but we're pretty fortunate in this part of Ontario that it's not usually a problem. Knock on something resembling wood. Um, but I think at this point, most people in this country have known directly someone, or there's just 1 or 2 degrees separation from someone who has had to evacuate their home because of a forest fire, or they had their business burned down, or their house burned down, or their community burned down, or they couldn't go outside because the smoke was too thick. All of this, because I've had family in northern Alberta that had to flee their towns. And fighting fires up there is a pain because there's not the infrastructure in place. And you have to fly and travel to get to the middle of nowhere. But it's important to do that because if you don't and they get out of control, there's a lot of small communities that they can hit and just wipe them out. And trying to flee those small communities on a single road, and it could be a couple hours before you hit another community. And we were seeing a lot of that in Saskatchewan, where they were fleeing, and the next closest town was smaller than the town they were fleeing. And so, where do you go once you get there? It's pretty scary, but I'm fairly certain at this point in Canada, we directly know or we know someone who has been very impacted by a forest fire. It wouldn't surprise me if that's the case. Would you agree with that assessment?
I would agree, especially because every time there is one, this country also, fortunately, at least seems to be able to rally together in news stories and in community events and community inspired action to want to help. So, if you don't know someone directly, you've heard a story and you
Mhm,
probably contributed or shared or talked about it with somebody. So,
mhm,
um, we are fortunate in that way that, uh, while sometimes our idea of helping each other looks performative, sometimes the performance is genuine. So,
mhm,
um, but to build on your point earlier of it's not just like people looking to get outraged. I think it's also people are now less and less identifying with the community that they live in because you look at COVID and that was literally about a community disease. It spread, it's a disease that was spread within your community. And the idea was you want to protect your neighbors, protect vulnerable people, protect everyone around you. And so many folks just said, nah, that's part of the social contract. I'm not doing that. Actually, I've done my own research. I'm my own person. I don't need someone telling me what to do. And I certainly don't need to think about anybody else but myself. Um,
Mhm.
and now that's extending past disease to natural resources and the safety of communities through people going, I'll protest it. I'll go in there anyway, or I'll risk the ban, or uh, I don't know if this is a story you were planning on sharing, but we had a former PPC candidate who went into the natural resource department and fully admitted to going into the woods and got hit with the ban because he was protesting. He said, I went into the woods and now I'm here for my fine
I think I
because he
remember
thought he was.
seeing an article
Well,
on it and I meant to bookmark it. I don't know if I have it. If not, we'll find it because I do want to
he was
touch on that.
a former candidate,
Hmm.
and so he did it on purpose because he wanted to protest,
Hmm.
fully aware that he would get hit with a fine anyway.
Yeah.
And of course, he's probably going to have supporters that will rally around and give him donations, and he'll use that to go
Yeah.
towards his next campaign. So
But
um,
like for
it's
me,
it's
yeah, it's the
people
app.
individualizing this.
For me, it's like the absolute selfishness of people that blows my mind and how completely selfish they become. Because they're like, how dare you take away my right to go into this forest that they might not have even never gone into before? But just removing the opportunity that they didn't even know they had was enough to set them off without realizing that you are risking the rights of the entire community next to that woods because it doesn't like I can say to myself, I'm a good driver. I go out there and I know I'm a good driver, so therefore I don't need to follow the rules of the road. But accidents happen. Even if you are the best driver, accidents can happen. And there are so many ways with the conditions the way they are, a fire can start by just accident. If you drop something metal or glass and the reflection, burns and can set off a fire. Like there's so many little things that you can do that you aren't consciously thinking of all the time. Like even sitting down, having a drink of water, and you put your glasses on the stone next to you and you're not paying close enough attention and the refraction goes off into the grass and suddenly there's a little spark, and if you panic or you don't know what to do or you don't notice on time, it will just go up. Like there's once it's started, unless you stomp it out immediately, you stand no chance because it will just ignite. People aren't aware of how fast these can get started, and it's just the complete selfishness of like, well, I know I won't be the problem. I should be allowed to do this, blah, 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 blah. Well, risking the lives, livelihoods, communities, homes of other people, all for your selfish not wanting this one thing to be taken away from you. Because it's not like you can never go hiking again. It's not like you can't go walking in a park nearby. You can still go out walking. You just can't go out walking in that spot for a, a period of time. It's not being indefinitely taken away from you. And it's so galling to me that people would rather put their need to want to go walk in the woods over the needs of everyone else in that community.
It's again, it's about they're so individualized
Mhm.
that they don't care about other people around them. Probably because they also partly also believe that other people around them don't care about themselves. That everyone's out for themselves, and so if everyone's out for themselves, why do I care what anybody else feels or says? Because they don't care about me.
Yes.
Um, but doing that and having that attitude um, is self-defeating and only leads to additional hardship for everyone involved. And it also just ends up showcasing just how many of the kids at the back of the classroom grow up and don't grow up.
Hmm.
They become adults that are still the kids at the back of the classroom. that got upset that the teacher caught them and told them to stop doing something or told them that they can't do something. And because they hated the fact that the teacher told them, they're going to do it anyway out of spite.
Yeah.
There are people that have become that,
Mm-hmm.
and they they do it out of spite. It's very spiteful. It's not just thinking about themselves. It's not just being a hypocrite. It's not just I work really hard and I deserve to have my time in the woods as recreation. It's spite.
Mm-hmm.
It's solely you did this and it hurt me, and so I'm gonna hurt you right back.
Yeah.
Um, and the only way out of that mentality is to A, not let it be rewarded, which unfortunately we don't live in that society, and B, to like see a therapist. I've been seeing a therapist since I was 7 years old. I'm now 31. Like it's just like it's at this point, it's like skipping a physical. It's like skipping the dentist. Go see a therapist. I know it's hard, and that's a whole other can of worms on how to be able to see a psychologist. Don't get me wrong, but if we lived in a society where it was possible to do it really easily, we'd still get a whole bunch of people that say, "Well, no, I'm not going to do that because I don't need to see a therapist." No, you work through your issues, or else we're going to light the woods on fire, and I'm going to have to evacuate.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. I think that's a little more like go work on yourself so that I don't have to worry about whether or not I have to be able to stay in a house. Like seriously, like can you believe that? Like that's just like that's the mentality at this
Mm-hmm.
point that we're dealing with, and
So
I've run out of patience for it.
yeah. So I've just pulled up a map of active wildfires. I'm not too sure what the legend is on this, what the different colors mean. I don't think it says down here. Live feed, live feed. Where's the legend on this? What if I click on it? Will it tell me? No. This is a stupid map. So this
I'm
cluster
sure
represents
someone in the
84.
SandBox could figure it out.
Yeah, this cluster represents 84 features. The stage control cluster is out of control. Let's see. The predominant value stage control within being held. So I think the red is out of control. Yellow is being held. Under control is blue from the looks of it. Being held. Under control. And out of control. Yeah, that's what it is. So yellow is being held. Blue is under control. Red is out of control, but the numbers represent the cluster of fires within it. It's not, a singular fire within that region. It's a whole bunch.
Right.
And then because like as you zoom in more, you can see them being broken up a bit more. So then you can see, okay, this one's being held, this one is under control. And it gets a bit disconcerting because we look here. This is Ontario. Almost the entire population is right where I'm circling. If we start getting fires in this area, we're talking about cities, large cities that are at risk. And there are fires starting to pop up in those areas. But if we go over to Nova Scotia, so one might look at this map and say, but Nova Scotia, where are the fires? I don't see them. Why the need for the band? And to that,
Why do we need guardrails?
I
It's
know.
not like we're going anywhere near the cliff.
But we'll get into the ban in just a second. I just want to point out that it's not just Nova Scotia. It's also New Brunswick. Has been told to stay out of the woods across the province. And why is this screen looking funny? Let's do that. So government asks New Brunswickers to stay out of the woods across the province. Province says fires spanning approximately 240 hectares near this city is out of control.
Miramichi.
Miramichi? Yeah. And yeah, so they're asking people to stay out of the woods because they don't want fires. And if we go back to the map briefly, You can see, where's New Brunswick on here? It's down here. Yeah, here it is. So, is it this one then? These two dots are out of control. So, but back to the news article. Well, I don't think I need to go into too much detail about what they're saying. Like, yeah, it's out of control. Some areas, New Brunswick, staying out of the woods. But the big one is Nova Scotia. And the reason why is because with this one, even though there are no raging wildfires in Nova Scotia, they're saying that if you go into the woods right now, the fine for violating the ban is $25,000, which is a lot. It's a lot of money. That would be, I would not want to risk that. Nova Scotia government has announced it's banning hiking, camping, fishing, and use of vehicles such as ATVs in the woods due to an elevated wildfire risk. I can definitely see why vehicles would be a problem in a tinderbox. Camping in campgrounds is still permitted, but trail systems through the woods are off limits under the new rules. The rules are in place for provincial crown land until October 15th or until weather conditions allow them to be lifted. Oh, so it's only crown land parks, so there's still places people can go hiking without risking a
You
fine.
can if you have private property and you have like an acre of woods, there's not someone that's we don't have the manpower to go and check every single private property like acreage and see if anybody's in there. Like
Mhm,
that's impossible. So the government's only doing it with crown land, and then if you're on private land, you can't host people for like you can't have like an underground campsite or like an underground,
mhm,
place to have people. But nobody at the same time, nobody's going to come around and check your property because
mhm.
they can't.
Yeah,
So it's
police
only crown land.
police aren't stopping you on the street and searching you for marshmallows and being like, "Where are you taking these marshmallows? To fire? Huh? Huh? You're gonna be making some s'mores? On what?" Like it's
Now, don't make me open this can of worms because you shouldn't be having a can of worms if you're going fishing. Fishing's not allowed.
uh-huh, uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. It is just the fine wouldn't have to be that high if people weren't being so entitled to doing this in the first place. Like just,
Exactly.
you know,
And to go back to like the individual argument again, the reason why this is happening is because of climate change and global warming.
mhm,
Like this drought is happening because the planet's getting warmer and the current that runs up the Atlantic coast that gives the hurricanes stuff is slowing down. So of course, all this moisture that normally comes up is slowing down and not coming as much. So
mhm.
climate change and global warming is causing it.
Yeah.
You'd think this would give a perspective of if I want to actually be able to go in the woods again, maybe just maybe I might have to start looking at supporting people who are fighting climate change and supporting stopping the things that are contributing to climate change so I can go in the woods again. But no, that's not happening. It's the exact opposite. They're thinking, why do I care about society? I just want to go in the woods, which means that we are literally taking the exact opposite approach. Instead of all coming together and realize we have to do something about this, we're all coming together and
Mhm,
looking at each other and going, well, I'm going in my woods, you go
mhm,
in your woods, and I won't rat you out, you won't rat me out. And if you rat me out, you're actually the bad one.
mhm.
Um, but we're screw the government. We're all going to do our own thing.
And what I want people
Um,
to know about this as well is the premier of Nova Scotia is a man named Tim Houston. And what kind of liberal radical lefty would put this type of policy in place, huh? Oh, right, he's conservative. He's a con. Yeah, it's a conservative who's done
yeah,
this. As hot, dry,
that
and
big government, that
yeah,
big government.
as hot and dry conditions in the province persist, Premier Tim Houston said at a news conference Tuesday that these proactive measures are a small price to pay to avoid devastation like the province saw in 2023 when wildfires destroyed more than 200 homes. I'm losing sleep about what's happening, Houston said, pointing to the more than 700 active wildfires burning across Canada, stretching firefighting resources. Like, this is one of the rare instances a conservative government cares. You know, he's not out there saying, "Ah, oh, screw it, go out into the woods, do burning and stuff." He's actually like, "No, no, no, this has real life consequences. It's not like COVID or something." This fire is instant. You can see it happening, so it's more real than a virus or something. A lot of them are probably thinking. But it's just
I think part of it is because the Nova Scotia has such a history of like, the Halifax explosion happened here. We've had
mhm,
this has been a military province of like a lot of huge military background with a lot of Navy and Army and for over 100 years or so. Because since the 1800s, this has been such an established. This province has been established that way that like while they are conservative, they got that like military like you got to take care of your backyard, you got to take care of the people that are underneath you kind of mentality because it's so cultured in
mhm,
that like even our conservatives are like, hey, listen, chuckleheads, uh, we got to actually like be reasonable here, or else you know,
mhm,
things are gonna happen. So like I've always said that like the maritime flavor of conservatism is very different than the rest of Canada, even different than Ontario or Quebec,
mhm,
let alone Alberta. Um, yeah, our progressive conservative governor premier is gonna be like
mhm.
the sensible one.
Yeah.
I don't give him credit for that though, because the
Mm-mm.
Liberals would have done the same thing,
Yeah.
and the NDP would have done the same thing. It's this is our province. This is how we've always operated,
Mhm. So there
as we
have
can see by the years.
mhm. So there have been previous bans in 2001, 2016, and 2023. But where was the outrage then? And also like if we go right here, a full fire ban is also in place in national parks, national historic sites, including all of those. Well, here, however, front country camping, beaches, and day use areas, including Jake's Landing equipment rentals at
Keji Makujik.
That's exactly what I was going to say. And Cape Breton Highlands National Parks and will remain open. So it's not like this is denying people of all outdoor activity. It's not like you still can't go out there and enjoy nature. It's just don't go into the fucking woods because you could start a fire and burn down entire cities. But people aren't happy about that. So, group threatens Nova Scotia with legal action over grossly disproportionate woods ban. Oh, there's a video. Do we want to try watching the video on this? I haven't seen this.
I love to see these people try to argue in court that a curfew is actually also grossly disproportionate.
Like, yeah, I'm still just surprised that they're not retroactively saying, why are we using seat belts? It's my body, my choice. Let's see what this is.
Don't give them
He is
ideas.
weighing in on Nova Scotia's restrictions on travel in the woods. Although the Canadian Constitution Foundation supports the province-wide burn ban, it says the other measures go too far. It wants the prohibition on hiking, camping, fishing, and picnicking in the woods lifted.
We're creating a culture where we
Yeah, we want to lift all the things that we could potentially accidentally set fires with.
value safety above any other value, including our fundamental freedoms, our freedom to move around our communities. When you describe everything as a safety issue, it means everything can be controlled.
The call comes as social media
It's
is
not
alight with public
everything.
Yeah, it's
It's such an over exaggeration. Everything. I'm sorry.
it's
Everything.
we're talking
This is a 2 month drought. It has not rained since June 7th. Today is August 11th. That is over 60 days. Are you kidding me? Everything?
like it's just it's like, oh no. the potential of forest fires is so high, therefore all of it, everything is just about safety. And it's like, yeah, this is about safety. This is absolutely about safety. We put rules in place as, a country, as a society, for the sake of safety. There's regulations, there's other things, but yeah, because again, we have way too many morons out there that are just so self-entitled, spiteful little people that they would go out and just do destructive stuff for the sake of it. It's so
Like,
infuriating.
it's like they can't see the difference between, because their argument is going to be, well, I mean, like, do you want a police state? Because a police state theoretically is all about safety, and you're just sacrificing some freedom in order to protect yourself from safety. And it's like, yeah, but in that scenario, the police state is to protect from threats that they use as an external force to justify authoritarianism. This is not a threat from an external unknown force. This is from a very specific, very controlled reason,
Mhm.
a drought of 2 months, and you got to avoid some wooded areas. Like, to
Debate
conflate that, because that's what she's doing.
Mhm.
That's what she's conflating.
and the tip line for reporting violations has been overwhelmed with
Ooh,
calls.
snitch
The
line.
CCF has written a letter to Premier Tim Houston urging him to rescind the travel restrictions. The group is threatening to take legal action and has started a petition garnering 2,000 signatures in 24 hours.
So some people will take a route where they don't have access to transit and they might not have a vehicle. So they take their bikes through a forested trail to get to work. And these are people who especially work in lower income jobs because they don't have a vehicle.
The CCF is also concerned about the hefty $25,000 fine for breaking the rules, calling it a grossly disproportionate penalty. Meantime, Newfoundland and Labrador is also taking aggressive action as multiple wildfires rage in that province.
New fines will range from $50,000 to $150,000. For a first,
When you put it like that, the $25,000, that's not so much then. That's like nothing. Ooh, 20, well, next door, 150K.
offense, when a ticket is issued, fines will increase from
Yeah, if you're in Newfoundland,
$75
just pop
to
over to Nova Scotia and you can light 6 fires for the price of one.
Yeah.
$50,000. And imprisonment in default of payment will increase from 3 days to up to 6 months.
In a statement, Nova Scotia's Department of Natural Resources says its prevention measures are allowed under the forest.
And I just saw something out of the side of my eye in the SandBox about, I think it was in reference to the people who live with poverty that have to use these paths. And I just want to say that the people who point this out, the conservatives, that's the only fucking time they care about people with poverty. Like, they will never mention the issues people with poverty face unless it's to feed their narrative. Because if it wasn't for this, they wouldn't care. And as far as I'd be concerned, then it's up to the employer to make sure that there's resources available to these people to bypass it. It's a community. You have to work together on this. But that's the only time they actually mention or think of people with poverty, is when they can use it to benefit their own narrative.
Act. We are
Like,
making decisions that are.
I was just gonna say, this is the exact same as, like, if the opposite were happening and we had 2 months of torrential rain to, like, the point where all the lakes were overflowing, all the rivers were overflowing, flooding was, like, commonplace. Roads were being completely, like, washed out, and you have people going like, "Excuse me, I know it's a $25,000 fine to go swimming in this lake, but I really want to go swimming. So I should be entitled to maybe drown and have to have people come rescue me because I want to go swimming after all these lakes have overflowed and all these rivers have overflowed and so many people are at risk of flooding."
Yeah.
Or, "Oh, we've had snowfall for like 2 months in a row and now all kinds of roads are like 300 centimeters of snow and rescue crews can't get anywhere, but I really, really want to go skiing. So, yeah, I'm gonna go skiing."
Mhm.
Like,
Well,
that's the doesn't that sound ridiculous
yeah.
though when you put it that way?
And we
Because it's
see
just the same thing.
And we see this thing play out in real life when there's evacuation orders because there's something like a hurricane coming, and they're saying, no, you are putting the lives of the rescuers in danger by staying where you are because we're then going to have to go rescue you if you stay there. You know, this is a big thing. It's not just
Like,
about you and your individual rights. It's the
and think
fact,
of the mental
yeah,
health. Sorry, I was just
yeah,
going to say, think of the mental health of all the firefighters who have to be on standby every day, going, is this a day where some idiot is going to make my life a living hell for the next 48 to 72 hours? Like, imagine that much standby, that much anxiety. Every day they wake up and go, is today the day this whole province lights up
mhm,
because of an idiot?
yeah.
In the best interest of Nova Scotians, it says. Our province is the second most densely populated in the country. That means wildfire is a
That's
greater risk to our people and our communities. Sky.
Let's see if there's a link to the other person. Okay, I'm going to have to put a cover over this while I Google it. Boom. That's the man charged 25000 for fire ban. Let's see if that works.
the PPC guy.
Uh, oh, there's been several fines
Yeah,
issued 5 days
we got
ago.
some protesters.
Yeah.
Nope, they got deep pockets.
Do you prefer City News, Halifax, or CBC?
I prefer CBC.
Okay, we'll go with CBC. And let's remove this. There we go. So Nova Scotia has issued more than 288K in burn ban fines in 2025. Activities in the woods now banned as dry conditions raise wildfire fears. Agencies in Nova Scotia have issued 10 tickets worth more than 25,000 each to people allegedly violating burn restrictions so far this year amid dry conditions and have increased the risk of wildfires throughout the province. You see, I don't know why I'm thinking about this, but it's like here are people who are protesting this ban for 25,000 because they want the right to go and start fires, potentially accidentally. But where are they speaking up for the people who are getting arrested, like over in England, because they were protesting a genocide by sitting there on the ground with a piece of paper saying, you know, genocide bad, this Palestine group is good. And they were getting arrested and charged and stuff. So where are these people supporting that cause? You know? But oh no, because this affects them and their ability to, again, it's just, no, as individuals in society, you can't do whatever you want whenever you want. There are certain restrictions we all have to live by. And what is the detriment to your life if you're not allowed to go into the woods for a few weeks? Like, how is that going to impact your life? How is that going to change the quality of your life? Like, there's nothing else you can do in that time? I just,
It's entitlement. It's a lot of entitlement.
Mhm.
I mean, you have folks, especially in some of the more rural areas of Nova Scotia, where um, like it's unfortunate, but think of the two kids that went missing. If you read about where they lived, it was so remote. It was so rural, so wooded. Nobody ever goes there, right? There's so many places in Nova Scotia that are old mining towns or old logging towns that have been left abandoned, or their populations are like 1/10 the size they used to be. That is just completely out of the way. And you have to like go 20, 30 minutes to get to a store or to get to anything local that's like meaningful. So you have all these people who live completely nearly off grid. We have a lot of dead zones too in Nova Scotia. Cell service doesn't work, and internet is near dial up. Um, so you got these people who basically feel like they live off in the wilderness on their own, and then to suddenly have the province come in out of nowhere and say, no, you can't go in your woods anymore. Like, it's not like I don't understand where they're coming from. But then I would think like, yeah, but think about other people. Think about, you know, what your little small area could have a big impact on other people somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And that just doesn't click for them because
Yeah.
they feel like I don't need to. My whole life has been rural and isolated and I did my own thing. Why should I change now?
Mhm.
And
The funny thing about these forest fires is they don't stick to a property. You know, if you start it because you're selfish and you're entitled, it won't stick to just your property. They tend to get out of control really easily. Let's see. Natural Resource Minister Tony Rushton said Tuesday that 7 summary tickets have been issued by conservation officers under Forest Act since the fine was permanently increased in May. So it's not like it was just increased. It was increased back in May. Okay. Nova Scotia RCMP said its officers issued 3 tickets under the Act in May, June, and July. A victim surcharge and HST also. Sorry, I just
oh
find it
yeah,
funny.
you get taxed on that fine.
I just, to me, that feels petty. We're going to fine you $25,000, but don't forget those taxes. I find that kind of cute. Infuriating, but yeah. Because it's not like it's a purchase, but, you know, it's practically a purchase if you're doing this intentionally. You're purchasing this fine. Also applied to the fine, bringing the total to $28,872.50. That amounts to more than $288K in fines and fees being issued so far this year. The fine previously applied to violating dating brilliance restrictions, but now also applies to violation of new rules announced Tuesday, which is like going into the woods. Let's see if there's somebody talking about it. No, I was wondering if somebody who violated the ban on purpose would be talking about it.
I mean, I can't remember his name, but that PPC guy, he literally went into the Department of Forestry and told on himself.
It's not linking to specific person. Let me try looking again.
SandBox, am I out of it? Like, does my opinion just seem absolutely outrageous, or do you guys agree that like where I'm coming from at least has some logical weight behind it? Because I feel like, as a Nova Scotian at least, I can talk about this, but I feel like what I'm saying is in fact out there. That people should like kind of have some sort of like self-preservation and like have to a decency for like people around you.
Okay, PPC Man? Former candidate, was it?
Yeah, former candidate for the PPC.
Fire ban. Let's just do fire ban. Ban protest. I'm not finding an article on him.
I saw it earlier.
I've
former
seen
PPC
something
guy.
too. Like I think it was on Twitter or something. Anyway, let's get back to some of this.
I mean, he told on himself. It's not
Mhm.
even like somebody told on him. He did it himself.
But going back to this one, does this one link to it? I don't know. Groups threatened with legal action. No, it doesn't look like any of them are banning to it specifically. Oh well. I do know what you were talking of. I think it was maybe just floating around Twitter or something. So let's go down to I've heard from a few people their ability to actually access work, and we've talked about that. At the same time, Nova Scotia's tip line to report people breaking rules has been overwhelmed with calls. Oh, the YIMBYs, the NIMBYs. Finally, they have their phone line. Somebody's on my lawn.
Yeah, how
I'm,
dare those NIMBYs not want to have a wildfire in their
I
backyard?
know.
Come on.
The NIMBYs are like, this phone line is what I've been waiting for, you know, to rat out
Finally
people
have
who are
the
going on my
motivation.
lawn. So in a statement, Nova Scotia's Department of Natural Resources said, we're making decisions that are best interests of Nova Scotians. Our province is the second most, okay, yeah. And so there have been some reactions to this.
But I really want to see what these Alberta folk have to say.
I don't
I'd
know.
love to hear what these Alberta
Yeah.
folk have to say about all
I
this.
don't know if I have any specific ones from Alberta, but I do know that I've been seeing people, like conservatives from Alberta, just raging. But I'm on Twitter all the time and it's hard to bookmark everything. But we have this person here. Proud Canadian. Does it say where they're located? Vancouver. I think this person's actually, yeah. On the online negative reaction to Nova Scotia Premier Tim Houston's approach to wildfire is based on ideology, not common sense, and it's coming almost exclusively from conservatives. Tim Houston, in this case, is the common sense conservative. For once, they actually live up to the slogan. And why are so many, somebody saying, why are so many conservatives boldly against the authority of the state, yet the same breath support Pierre Poilievre's massive sweeping proposed crime crackdown, which he vowed to override the charter to implement? This is the strangest form of anarchism I've seen to date.
Well, it's not that strange. It's because the in-group's being targeted instead of the out-group.
Oh, right,
The
this
crime
guy.
group, it's all the people they don't like that's being targeted. But the forest ban, it's, hey, wait a minute, I voted for you and now you won't let me go in the woods. So now I'm upset.
Yeah, okay,
It's
so
just,
this douche
yeah.
canoe is Ontarian. Says, unlike Nova Scotia, I clear the combustible material around my trees. He goes out and he sweeps the forest around his place.
Yes. Because none of those really tall trees will catch on fire if there's nothing on the ground.
And somebody just pointing out, Canada has 367 million acres of forest. If 40 million of us grabbed a fucking rake, we'd have to rake over 9 acres each. You absolute fucking pylon. Like, it's just, it's this, what is it? Like, you're not picking yourself up by the bootstraps. You need to be doing this libertarian type bullshit coming from these people. Like, if a forest fire starts around your place, it's your fault for not taking proactive measures to stop it in the first place. But it's like, no, you do this. But the thing is that forests, the vegetation on the ground is actually good for the ground, the fertilizer, the ecosystem, the wildlife, the insects, all that sort of stuff.
That's why forest fires are healthy when it happens naturally.
Yeah.
And it's not like artificially enhanced through someone setting a fire or, you know, climate change making it worse. Like forest fires is how a forest like renews itself. It gets rid of the dead, decaying stuff and allows for more stuff. Like that's why after forest fires, some of the greenest stuff grows.
Well,
it's a cycle.
We can blame settlers for a lot of this because before settlers arrived here, regular burns were commonplace and the forest was nowhere near as dense as it is now. But when the settlers came over here and wanted to do logging for industry and stuff, they stopped all the fires. And then the infill of the forest became a lot more dense and thicker. And so there's a bigger chance of them getting out of control when they do happen, as opposed to how it used to be before they stopped them all. It's one of the things like were people interfering with the environment without realizing the actual consequences of the actions at the time. But it's like, yeah, this.
No way, I'm sure humanity will evolve out of that skill.
Yeah. But it's absolutely ridiculous. It's like, ooh, this picture here, there'd be a raging forest fire. But this picture here, after I did all this work, raking and sweeping the forest like Donald Trump says you should. Well, that's my fire prevention right there.
No, don't you see? Only the trees would be on fire. The ground would be perfectly fine. You could just walk by and you could just, you know, take a look at the fire as you're walking by and get a nice picture with it. But it would only be on the tree.
Let's see. So somebody just saying, okay, I'm getting tired of this and tired of mainstream news not challenging this bullshit more. We elect MPs to serve the public, not bait into conspiracy or rage against their own best interests, not to offer them fear when it should be guidance and help. And this person here is a member of parliament. Not shocking, conservative. And she says, I'm hearing from Canadians across. Where is she located? Again,
She's in Ontario,
sorry.
isn't she?
It's all Ontarians. Yes, she's Ontario. I'm hearing from Canadians across the country who feel fearful and alienated by the recent hiking, fishing, and camping bans along with the fines and tip lines we're seeing in provinces like Nova Scotia and New Brunswick, especially rural folk who forage and interact with the land daily. Well, the government.
Forage?
Isn't that what you do in Nova Scotia?
I mean, sure. Okay, you know what? Is there some blueberry fields out there that maybe on a nice day you can go picking? Sure. Are you going daily foraging for your food? No. We're
How
not that rural,
how
okay? We're not
else
that out of the way.
how else do you get fiddleheads?
Yeah, how else do we get fed? I mean,
Fiddleheads. No, they're a little plant that's quite
I
yummy,
gotta
actually.
wake up at 4 a.m. in order to go get my foraging done for the day so I can have breakfast before I go to work.
Mm-hmm.
It's just what you do.
I love how we lean into Canadian accents when we're talking like this.
I mean, when we sound ridiculous, it's very easy to sound like Northern Ontario or rural Nova Scotia
Mhm.
because it just fits. Just the ignorance and the. I mean, why do I have to go out and get my stuff?
Mhm.
I don't want to do any of this.
Yeah. So while the
It's
government
ridiculous.
So while the government says this is to prevent forest fires, the approach has left many feeling discouraged, disconnected, and wondering if there's a bigger purpose at play. It's a conspiracy. Some have
A bigger
referenced my past
purpose.
work on UN Convention on Biodiversity and are asking the broader goal to conserve and stop human use on 30% of Canada's land by 2030. It's the 30 times 30 metric. Is influencing policies like this. What can I say? This is protecting nature. It's vital, but we
No,
need respectful, transparent solutions to build trust, not alienate communities more soon.
I gotta come clean. It actually is a conspiracy. See, Nova Scotia actually has a very, very secret but powerful weather machine.
Mm-hmm.
And while we normally don't cave to big interests, Big Eight, actually, the water company, Big Eight, they came to us and said, listen, our profits are low and we really need you to do something about it. So we caused a 2-month drought.
Mm-hmm.
So that way we all have to have low water and then have to buy it from big water. So you know what? She's right.
But
It is a conspiracy. We
it's
did it to
just
ourselves.
this statement here. Stop human use on 30% of Canada's land by 2030. You've seen a map of Canada, right? You know how big it is. And did you know that 80% of the population lives within 100 kilometers of the border to the United States? I'd be surprised if we are actually actively on 30% of the land. If we're using 30% of the land right now.
Like go to a map of Nova Scotia, and if you saw actually how much tropical forest there is and how much like wooded area there is that actually has no access to or barely little access to, like we are densely populated, and yet we still have so much land that we can't use because it's just rurally unaccessed, dense land.
And there's this thing out there called the tundra that almost nobody lives on. Like it's just stop human use on 30%. I'm pretty sure there's 30% of the land not being used right now. I'm pretty sure that in Canada, more than 30% of the land is not in use. I'm just saying.
Now, don't you know that like the Rocky Mountains that we have, we got a lot of use out of them. We
Rachel
actually have
Atwood is wondering if we can do a
caves.
Newfie accent.
Oh, sure, there, boy. Absolutely, I could do a Newfie accent for you.
Yeah.
Hey, it's not that hard.
It's a little Irish, but not really. I did not do that properly.
I mean, Nova Scotia and Cape Breton were already so close to Newfoundland anyway. We don't
Uh-huh.
really sound that much different.
Well, the thing is I used to be able to do an Irish accent, like just nail it. But then I went to do a play, a local play in my community theater, and they wanted us to do Newfie accents, and we were studying and studying and studying. And ever since then, I've never been able to do my Irish accent because trying to do the Newfie accent wrecked it because they're actually similar-ish.
There's a lot of Irish in Newfoundland.
So this person just pointing out conservatives are now pro-wildfire, amazing, and just pointing out that here's a conservative. The only route they know is using overreach and authority. Stay out of the woods, burn ban. Remember, there was COVID, stay at home. The restrictions we put in place for COVID saved so many lives. Just look at the countries that didn't do it. You know, look at the states. We were in a much better position, and we're talking like proportional. We had far fewer deaths here in Canada.
I mean, we literally had like, during COVID, even our provinces were one of the strictest. We had like a bubble where like nobody was allowed in from any other place in the world except the 4 provinces that signed up or connected. And even then, within that bubble, it was only if there was 0 COVID. As soon as like cases came in, that bubble was immediately truncated to like only your like family members or like your neighbor. Like we were some of the strictest in the world, and we had some of the least deaths out of anywhere in Canada.
Yeah.
So you know what? I take that to the bank right there.
Yeah, and this person just pointing out that this has happened before. Nobody cared. Let's see. Somebody pointing out Nova Scotia is only trying to prevent another Jasper. You're for fiscal responsibility, right? 90% of wildfires are caused by human. That's a fact. You can't sacrifice a walk in the forest for a few weeks. Seems kind of selfish and self-centered. And they were quote tweeting this person. Where are you from? Ooh, they're for free speech. Ah, here's an Albertan. Free speech absolutist. Regenerative agriculture. Well, once it's burned down, I suppose you can regenerate your agriculture. Your solution for fires is to keep everyone out of the forest? Mine would be to treat negligence and arson with actual serious consequences and encouraging people to make connections with the land, not to sever connection with the land that sustains us. That made no sense.
I'm sorry, there's nothing to sustain us. We haven't had rain in 2 months. Everything's dried up. Like, that's the other thing that I don't think they really understand. It's not like it's just like we've had a couple hot weeks of not a lot of rain. It's been 2 months. I've lived in this province for almost 32 years, and this has never happened to have this little rain. Like this is unprecedented, and people are acting like, oh yeah, it was a really hot sunny day here one day, so we decided to put a $25,000 ban and you can't go in the woods because it hasn't rained in 3 days. Like, think, people.
And we don't need
Like
someone from the prairies.
One day a volcano is going to erupt, like, and there's going to be like an ash cloud, and the government's going to be like, please stay indoors. If you go outside, you breathe the air, you're going to die. And someone's going to be like, excuse me, I am entitled to have my lungs filled with natural volcanic ash. I pay good money for that.
I just love the idea of somebody from the prairies saying, what do you do with your forest? Okay. I know there's forest in Alberta, but still there's a lot of prairie out there too. For people who don't know, the prairies, kind of flat, not much forest. Let's see. So unless you've witnessed, and this is somebody from Nova Scotia, I think is kind of where you're at. Unless you've witnessed what it's currently like in Nova Scotia, then you can fuck off. We are doing what we need to keep everyone safe. It's fucking bad here, real bad. Trees are changing colors, grass is brown, trees are dying, the forest is an instant fire waiting to happen. Lakes are looking like rivers, rivers are looking like puddles, and now we got everyone from bumfuck nowhere commenting about us not allowed in the woods. But guess what? No one will be able to walk in the forest when they're on fucking fire. Isn't there a chemtrail y'all should be chasing?
It is so dry and hot that it sometimes almost feels like there's electricity in the air that could just ignite.
Mhm.
Like it almost feels like humidity, but it's not humidity because there's no moisture. But there's something, you feel it. Until you experience it in real life. Like I've never really realized what it meant to be in a drought, but it's not just like hot and dry. It's hot and dry and heavy. It's very heavy in the air.
Yeah. Nova Scotians, our forests are super dry right now, so we're going to take extra precautions. Not Nova Scotians. Fuck you. I'm not going to say all of those things. Fishing doesn't cause fires. Equalization, dumbass. COVID lockdowns. Elbows up. Nova Scotians. I think I did the right
Like
place.
I haven't been on Twitter or Blue Sky to see some of these, so I've seen them for the first time. It's really funny how we're only thought about when like we're trying to prevent something from happening or something just happened. Other times we're just completely forgotten about. But suddenly everyone's an expert on what it means to be Nova Scotian.
Yeah, I do like this one though, and this one I'm all for. The next time the government closes a lake because of E. coli levels are too high, I want the forest chuds to stand on their freedoms and go for a swim. A nice long swim. And you see, I'm all for this one because if you do that, the only person you're affecting is yourself. You know, if you go and get E. coli, it's not like a neighborhood's going to burn down. So I am all for people standing on their freedoms for this one.
Of course, Tim Houston never fixed our healthcare, so we'd actually be overburdening our healthcare system if we allowed that.
Don't be nitpicky. It was funny. But yeah, because once we start like
I know I sound like a broken record, but it's just ridiculous to like see a whole bunch of people just lose their any of their ability to have empathy or to think about their thoughts and why they're thinking this way and where they're coming from in terms of being so angry. It's just it's like something broke and people just refuse to fix themselves, and they just want to be mad and they want to blame someone and they want to be angry and they rather literally burn everybody else down with them.
Yeah, like again, forest fires in this country are a huge problem because again, if you're looking at these areas here, there's almost no populations in these areas. So they do get out of control, and then they become so big and so massive that when it does reach a community nearby, there's nothing they can do other than flee. And some of these areas, especially I know in Ontario, this has been a huge problem, especially with Indigenous communities. They're fly-in only because there are no roads that go to these communities. And so only tiny planes can travel to these communities. And so you have a community of a couple thousand people needing to fly out half a dozen at a time. People are not aware of how sparsely populated this place is and how dangerous that is. Not to mention just the effects of we are destroying one of the planet's lungs. The boreal forest, rainforest, is huge. We need it if we like to breathe oxygen. And all the ash and soot going up in the air because of these fires is not exactly going to help the climate recover.
Yeah, I don't know what we do about this, because and most people like let's be clear, most people around here are on like the side of the government. The only thing they're upset about is the rollout and the miscommunication of some, like what is and what isn't allowed, and and some of the things that like were brought up as criticisms. Like you could make an argument that like maybe there was a better way to explain it, or maybe there was a better way to write like the guidelines out and advocate for them. But the main idea, everybody here is absolutely on board with, like, stay out of the woods.
Mhm.
Plus, it's hot out. Like, again, like, I'm a broken record. It hasn't rained in 2 months. Every time you step outside, you feel disgusting. You feel gross. You feel like if you don't get in shade in like 5 seconds, that you're gonna start sweating. And it gets to a point where we're not quite there yet, but it could be wet bulb temperatures where you sweat and you still don't cool down. Like, nobody actually wants to go in the woods because it's too hot out.
Mhm.
Like, if you actually lived here, you wouldn't want to be in the woods in your ATV or in your dirt bike or even going fishing because it's too hot.
I really
Nobody
like,
wants to
yeah.
be outside.
Sorry, I'm getting distracted because I really like this map because it's actually showing like Google Earth images type thing. So you can see the communities nearby.
So then go to Nova Scotia and just take a look at how wooded it is out there. And like all the little areas that are just full of wood. You're almost there. That's Newfoundland.
Oh, zoom out. There we go.
Like, once you get outside of Halifax, it's just all woods everywhere.
Halifax it's on the corner, isn't it?
So it's in the middle, and it's way off to the east, like the eastern part of the province by the harbor. Like, if you zoom in,
Around here?
no, like a little south. Keep going. Keep going.
Oh,
Keep going. Yeah, right there.
yeah, right where it's
So that's
showing a whole bunch of
Halifax.
people.
Yeah, that's Halifax. But then as soon as you go anywhere out, like even 50 kilometers outside, it's all forest. It's forest everywhere. Like, that's all it is.
So people are upset. They can't go hiking right here. Right in the middle of nothing. Oh, there is a road out there. Okay.
That's what I mean. It's all these old little roads and these old little like areas and so many old like mining places and that's just, you're just looking at like one small part outside of Halifax. Like, you go like look towards Truro, or you go towards Yarmouth, you go to up towards Cape Breton. It's just all forest everywhere. Like, look at it. That's all woods.
This is a
Like,
neat
outside of
map.
Halifax, it's just all woods. We just roads through woods.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, we need to protect ourselves and not let people in the woods, because that's all we got. Like, it's everywhere. We're just small little enclaves in the middle of a big old wooded dry area. Same with New Brunswick. New Brunswick has a lot of woods. Newfoundland has a lot of woods. Like, Atlantic Canada, like, even though we logged a lot out here, we didn't really log a lot because there's so much little areas that we didn't get to.
Here in Ontario, we do have woods in southwestern Ontario, but a lot of it is farmland. So that's why you're not seeing as much in the way of woods, but it's also very sparsely populated because it's a lot of farmland. Because
Right.
southwestern Ontario has some of the best farmland in the world. That's because of the glacier that used to sit around here and dropped off all the lovely sediments and stuff in this area that made it very rich soil. Holy
Well, Nova
crap, this
Scotia,
map goes very... It goes,
detail.
yeah. I'm like, I could show people my house. Not that I would. I'm getting so distracted by the map. There's Toronto. But yeah, if we go up to like Northern Ontario here, you can start seeing that you run into the same problem of it's just forest.
Yeah. Yeah, I see that.
Because you get up into the Shield especially, Not much construction happens on the Shield. It's a lot of mining that happens on the Shield, but not much construction because it's all rock. Yeah, there's
Yeah, we
like,
have a lot of like boggy areas
Mhm.
and like wetland within the forest and a lot of little lakes and a lot of little like overgrown, so like nothing that you could really, unless you spent a lot of money. Um, and also a lot of old towns that just don't exist anymore.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, if there's anybody from other provinces listening right now, probably are. I'll just say, like, most people out here are supportive of the practical keep out of the woods. The only people who are complaining are mostly folks who are just upset about how it was rolled out and, you know, what does or does not constitute private property or, um, you know, because the premier did say something like, oh, if you're just walking down a trail to get to a beach, then that's fine. It's like, okay, well, then which is it? Is it fine or is it not fine? But
Oh, there's a
besides that,
fine.
most people support it. So, you know, and come fly here and come feel it and see for yourself and
I
then
would
tell me that you
actually
don't.
love to go to Nova Scotia.
It's fun to visit when we're not in a drought.
Yeah, because I've never been out to the East Coast. I've only ever accidentally been out to BC, but I've been to Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba. But I was just driving through them on a road trip. I wasn't exactly spending time there because there's nothing to do in Manitoba and Saskatchewan. It's just flat. It's very flat. You just keep on driving. There's no change. It's like you're in the Australian outback, only without kangaroos and really freaky looking deer. When I went to northern Alberta and stuff, the animals there were just next level. Like, okay, is that reindeer there going to eat me? Because there's just like this big bulky thing, like goosh goosh goosh. What? As opposed to around here, we have these dainty little Bambi deer that bounce around.
Our deer don't really bounce. They more just kind of walk by you, and then my dog will bark at them, and then they'll look at my dog like, "What are you gonna do?" And then they just keep walking because they're not afraid of us anymore. They used
And
to be.
and of course the moose will play chicken with the cars. Like, oh, you're gonna come at me? You gonna come at me? And I saw
Oh
a
man.
rabbit in northern Alberta that I thought lasers were going to start shooting from its eyes. It was not a bunny. I'm used to seeing rabbits around here. That thing looked like it was a carnivore. It was just like, okay, the bunny's here. Huh? Not a bunny. But yeah, I know you have to leave at in a
I was just gonna
roughly
say I
10-ish
got about
minutes.
10 more minutes if you want to check the sandbox and see
Oh,
what people are saying, or if you want to do like a
yeah.
closing statements or whatever.
Yeah, so people in the sandbox, if you want to say something to Marc Joycey right now would be a great time. But thank you so much, Pendulous Dragon, for the uh to become a member, a Feldspar member, and the $2 super chat says we are burning our Mother Earth, and Rachel Atwood also with the $2 super chat saying Todd Roy Bituation Room mod is in Halifax, FYI. So so you have a neighbor that's a mod on the Bituation Room because you know
Well,
him. You know
we must be.
Todd, don't you?
I know Todd.
Todd Roy
Todd.
in
Todd in
Nova
Halifax, of
Scotia.
course.
Now you know
Todd.
him. It would actually be hilarious if you did.
Yeah, it's not impossible.
Let's see. Trying to see. What people are saying. Well, we have lots of people in the sandbox. John Martinez, Rachel Atwood, JK. No, no, no. Trump says there's no such thing as climate change. Buy more oil. Yes. Hermeteorologist. Let's see. Lots of people saying hi's. Yeah.
If there's any questions about Nova Scotia, I'm happy to answer them if I know the answer.
Hermatologist wondering if that is a tree farm. Oh, wondering about the person who was raking the forest. And then there's Rachel asking us about our accents. I could probably do it, but I would have to hear other people doing it for more than like a sentence or so. And then I have like a sympathetic ear for accents, so then I could pick it up. But for me to just cold turkey do any accent other than a silly French one, it's a no. Although I can do a Karen accent like that.
One of the things that I don't think it's fully unique to Nova Scotia, but it's one of the things for sure out here is that people will breathe in as they say yeah. So they finish a sentence and they'll be like, huh, yeah. And they'll breathe in as they say yeah.
Really?
It's really weird, but some folks will do it. They'll be like, oh, blah, 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 yeah. It's just kind of like, yeah, it's just that they just do that. It's just almost like they want to keep talking, but they got to breathe.
Would
So
that
they
not give you
it's a real
hiccups?
thing.
That would give you
It's a real
hiccups.
thing.
It would give you hiccups.
I haven't gotten hiccups yet.
Bad Lefty saying, oh no, you tree hugging commies need oxygen snowflakes. They're being sarcastic. Looney Tunes 9000, hello. Yeah, we were talking a bit before the stream. It's like, I remember back in the old day when we had these things called seasons. There were 4 of them. They happened usually in the same order. You had your winter, spring, summer, and fall, and they would rotate regularly. And there was a calendar that you could actually mark the seasons on. That was the life back then when you actually could predict a season.
It is. I was saying earlier too. It is funny to live in like what would have been like a history like lesson of like back in 1861 was the Great Drought. We still feel the impacts today. That's my Jordan Peterson as a history professor. But it's funny just to kind of live through like what's literally going to be talked about now for probably like the next 15, 20 years because we've never had this before.
Mm-hmm.
We're in hurricane season. We haven't had a rainstorm in 2 months.
You get hit with hurricanes quite regularly. Where's your hurricanes?
Like really, well, that's what I mean. Like that's why this is so crazy. Is that
you see, this is
we
going
are
to be
in
really
hurricane
bad.
season.
This is going to be really bad because if you get a sudden storm like a hurricane or a big rainstorm or something like that, you're going to have to be worried about things like mudslides.
And flooding because the ground won't be able to absorb the water.
When ground is dry, it's harder for it to absorb water versus moist ground can instantly absorb water a lot easier. And also, all the dry sediment and dirt on top would instantly be washed away into basically like mud flows. So I don't know how mountainous it is there, but anyone near any large hills would have to worry about that.
Oh, I don't know if you remember this from your geography in school, but Nova Scotia is what's left of the Appalachian mountains that went from Newfoundland through to West Virginia. Like when they say Appalachia in West Virginia, like Appalachia is also kind of here in Nova Scotia. Mm-hmm. So we do have some flooding, a lot of flooding out here. Yeah. And that is a big risk if we don't get proper rain of a good days of wet and we just get a gigantic hurricane, there's going to be massive flooding. Perfect time for a swim.
Mm-hmm. So Rachel Atwood says, Nova Scotia question, were descendants of the freed blacks who settled in Halifax compensated given reparations after their neighborhood was destroyed in the 1917 explosion? No.
No.
It was called Africaville. I don't know how to pronounce it. Africaville?
It was Africaville.
Yeah.
Africaville. It's now it's been kind of like resurrected more as like a national and historical like landmark area, but no. After 1917, places where the Black Loyalists were.
Oh, and we're talking about the Halifax explosion, by the way. For people who are unaware, that killed over 2,000 people and at the time was the largest man-made explosion in history.
Very famous heritage moment. Mm-hmm. I can quote it by heart because of how many times I've seen it.
I've talked about the Halifax. Yeah, I've talked about the Halifax explosion on my channel a bunch of times. It's one of those things that I wish that if Canada had like a good movie industry, like I want to see a really good movie made about it. Like
There's been a
accurate
lot of good
historical.
books, like fictional books about it.
That means reading. I want a movie.
Well, adapt one of the books then.
Mhm.
Go be a
Yeah,
filmmaker there,
but
Sandy. You can do it.
Africaville wasn't in the main line of the explosion, but still got severely damaged and lots of structures destroyed and stuff. And they were not given the assistance to rebuild.
Of course they weren't, because
Mhm.
we're still deeply racist. You know, you could say the same for like some of the Mi'kmaq communities that were set up along the explosion as well. They weren't given proper compensation when they were allowed to try to come back. Um,
Uh,
but
so Dominique Bannister says, as someone from the Bahamas who used to live in southern United States, I was shocked to hear people with similar accents living here in Nova Scotia.
we get a lot of folks from outside of Canada coming to Nova Scotia because Pier 20. I mean, we before immigration became such a taboo subject, we used to like really honor the fact that we were one of like the provinces that were the most accepting of immigrants. Like we have a national museum called Pier 21 that's all about the history of immigration to Canada and how it was constantly about how open we are and how tolerant we are, and we have a long way to go, but we have been as a province one of the most welcoming in terms of immigration, and unfortunately now that's been um, co-opted and turned into a negative. But to go back to what the person was saying, yeah, we have a lot of folks from different parts of the world that settle down here and have communities here, and so um, you hear a lot of different accents. Like nearby my house is my favorite pizza place, and the owner is Lebanese, and he's great. I love Lebanese food, and he has I've known him a long time, and he's a great guy, and he's got an accent. You don't really notice after a while because I've grown up next to him.
Well, Mudbud
So
says, and down to Georgia, I think about the accents, and Bad Lefty said that they learned about the Halifax explosion from us, but Rachel Atwood is also saying there's a B movie called Shattered City that came out in the mid 2000s. It's not bad. One of the survivors was a consultant on the movie, and it focused around a fictional version of her family's story.
well, you should look up before I go. You should look up the Heritage Minute of the Halifax
Oh, I've seen
explosion
it.
'cause
I've
it's
seen it. Did we want to
so
show it for
good.
everyone?
Yes, we do.
Okay, just a minute.
My legacy. We had an explosion. It was big. We blew something up. That's our great legacy here.
Halifax. Oops, I'm in the wrong
And see,
screen.
as an actor, one day we're gonna have new Heritage Minutes, and hopefully, maybe I could be in a new Halifax one, which for whatever it might be.
Go. I need to be in this
Who
screen,
knows?
so Halifax. I think I've shown it on here before, but
I mean, it's a Canadian classic. If you haven't seen it, it's just great.
yeah. Okay, let's
It's got the best acting you could possibly see.
This is
I think
Canadian
that's
acting
the
at its
time.
finest.
It's very charming for what it is.
Oh my God! Look at that! Yeah, thank God she's a half a mile away. Huh?
She's loaded, boys. You gotta get out of
But
here.
the
Full of
story itself
explosives.
is also just like
Oh,
you can't really beat it because it's
There we go.
that's the kind we don't have those kind of people anymore to end the story, like somebody who's willing to give their life for others like this
mhm.
versus someone who
Thank
wants to
God
run
she's a
into the woods and do the exact opposite.
Half a mile away. Huh?
She's loaded, boys. You gotta get out of here. It's full of explosives.
Explosives. Oh no! No, get out of here! Vince!
Going back in the school.
Please get these children out of here! That ship is gonna blow! No!
Mr. Coleman.
Hurry! Hurry! You gotta get these people out of here! That ship is gonna blow! The train. What? People, get out of here! It's gonna blow up! Ignition ship on fire. Stop train. Please, God, answer. Coleman, there's no time. The train's coming in towards Pier 6. I've got to warn you. Come on, Vince, come on. There are 700 people aboard it. I've got to stop it. Come on, acknowledge.
Halifax was devastated. 9,000 wounded, 2,000 dead, including Vince Coleman, dispatcher.
Ooh.
Yeah. And his descendants are still alive here, and they get interviewed every once in a while. That's the kind of people we need to end this, to end my spot on the stream. That's why it's also important to watch it, because we need more people like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't want everybody to suddenly give their life right now, but like I'm talking about, like, at least thinking about other people, and, you know, willing to risk not your life, but maybe just a little bit of your freedom, so that other people don't have to suffer with the loss of a house or a loved one. So
Okay, well, Mudbud says thanks for coming in. Rachel also mentioning that tourism shot up after Titanic. People are looking for the actual gravesite of whatever his name was. The Leonardo
we have
DiCaprio
some
character.
Titanic. We have Titanic.
But they were looking
graves.
specifically for that character's grave.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Not real. Sorry.
Okay, well, it was great seeing you, and we'll have to have you back on sometime to maybe talk
Of
about stuff
course.
that isn't just Nova Scotia.
I mean, I'm happy to be your Nova Scotian correspondent, but I can also add my Nova Scotia commentary to other stuff too.
Yes. You're not just Nova Scotia. You're not just Mr. Nova Scotia.
Ooh, that's not a bad nickname either.
Mr. Nova Scotia.
But thanks for having me on. I don't use it much anymore, but I'm on X. You can look my name up. Same on Blue Sky. You can look my name up. Instagram, same thing. I sometimes say political stuff. So, but yeah, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate coming on. This is great.
Okay. And I will be back to the SandBox in just one moment, so everyone hang on. So I do this. Where is it? Where is my little holder frame? I'm not there yet. Oh, here we go. Hello, everyone. I am back. Yeah, so that was nice. It's always nice having Marc Joycey on here. And I'm looking to hopefully get some more interviews with people in the near future. That's I meant that as like a cliffhanger. I don't know. I don't know. Not foreshadowing, but what's that thing when you drop a hint that something might be coming? I don't know. Something cool for my channel anyway. But yeah. So just going to check the SandBox. I don't really have much else to say. Went through the whole docket that I had put together that luckily I didn't have to do yesterday because I was already doing a live stream for 5 hours. And I also have to figure out how to raid the letter hack because I believe he is live right now. Let's see. If I go here on a screen that you're not seeing. I have to be careful when because when I have somebody on, I'm using StreamYards, but I'm not using StreamYards. I'm cheating. So this is just like a straight out screen grab of what you're seeing. So anything I put on my front screen, you will see. Whereas normally the way that I have it set up, it's the camera looking at me, but the camera is being used for StreamYard. So I can't interfere with the front screen at all or you will see it. Whereas normally I can look things up because the camera is just me and you won't see it unless I switch over to the actual desktop view. So, you got to do what you got to do when you live with poverty is what I'm saying. Let's see. I know that he was supposed to be going live soon-ish. Letter hack. So I'm looking over at our screen. Where is he? Oh, there he is. Does he have it coming up? Okay, so I should be able to toss this into the SandBox. It'll be coming live in just over 20 minutes. Close. And then if I go over here, which you guys aren't seeing me do, and I edit, and I go to customization, is it? Redirect, add. There we go. Monday Hangout. Save. Okay, so now we should be redirected to Letter Hack. So if he's not live, you'll still be redirected to his channel. And he's starting in just over 20 minutes. Let's see. But I'm pretty sure I could find something to ramble on for 20 minutes. Oh, but yeah, I am looking to get some interviews done with some people. Oh, no, it's not Owen Jones, if anyone was wondering if it was that because of the drawing that I did of him, which is right here. I still haven't been able to reach him, so anyone who knows how I can reach him to let him know I did this drawing of him would be greatly appreciated. This hyper-realistic drawing. As far as I know, he still has not, he doesn't know that I've done it. I've been trying to find ways of reaching him. I just messaged him on Instagram today, but again, it quite possibly has gone to, I don't know if there's a spam folder, but it's probably like a message request or something of that sort. Sorry, my hair is flying around because I have to have 2 fans on me. One is just the regular fan in front of me, but the other one, I don't have air conditioning in this room, so it's trying to blow in the cooler air, so I'm not like dying of heat because, yeah, Ontario, in my area of Ontario, we're going through yet another heat wave. Another one. We've had a whole bunch of them. And for those who don't know, I'm a little bit of a winter person. I like the cold. I just don't like driving in icy conditions, but other than that, I like the cold. But I'm very grateful that I live in an apartment right now that does have AC, even though it's not perfect AC by far. But I'm so grateful to have that because I've lived in so many apartments when I didn't. And you suffer in the heat. Like you just suffer. You can't escape it. You can't sleep. You can't rest. You can't move. You can't do anything. You can't think. You just, you're in heat. And then you try to take a shower or a bath to feel cool down and clean. But the instant you step out of the tub, instant sweat, and it's gross. And like here in this part of Ontario, it's very humid. So it gets really hot and it's like you walk into a wall when you go outside because you feel it just like a sauna, the way that it just kind of envelops you. And then we also have like a lot of humidity even in the winter, even though inside it's dry as all can be because of the heating. So inside super dry, but outside you still have the humidity. So what will happen sometimes with Ontarians is they will go to another part of the country in the winter and it'll be super duper cold, but it's a dry cold, so they're not feeling it the same way. And they're like, oh, this is great. And I don't even need my gloves on and doing all this stuff. And then they get frostbite because they're not paying attention, because they're not feeling it the same way, even though it's just as bad and serious and cold. Rachel Atwood, I have his email on account of him accepting an interview suggestion, but never got a response. He gets thousands of messages there every day, so I'm not sure that will be of any use. It'd be the same as trying to, actually with him, it'd be worse. Because even when you try to email like the majority reporters at Gmail, they get so many messages and they just have 1 million. Well, they have over 1 million subscribers to the YouTube. Okay, so maybe they're about at par because on Twitter, Owen Jones has over 1 million followers, 500,000 on Instagram, over 100K on Blue Sky. I don't know off the top of my head how many he has on his YouTube channel. I think it's still under 1 million. Let me just check on the screen because I'm suddenly curious. YouTube. Yeah, he's just under 800K on YouTube. So the amount of messages that he would get, and he's not like an organization. He has people working for him, editing and things and whatnot, but it's not like it's a media company. And plus all the other outlets like with Zateo and stuff that he's involved with, and the online spots, like the amount of messages and bombardment he probably gets from so many people in so many ways. It's hard to break through that noise the same way it is hard to break through the noise of the Majority Report. There's a lot of people like me who can try calling into the Majority Report regularly for months and not get through. I'd say maybe 2 in 10 IMs I send them will actually get read out. And it's not because they're avoiding me, it's just volume. And so if you try to email the Majority Report, it's just going to get lost in the noise, and it's going to be the same with him. Unless I have a direct line of communication through someone, like somebody who knows him, knows like his private email, or can DM him directly, somebody he's familiar with, so he'll actually read the DM type thing, I'm probably not going to get through to him. And it's a numbers game, but I'll try some other things. Maybe the next time I get raided by No Justice, I can mention it then, because No Justice doesn't follow me, so I can't DM her either. The Wild West, we are too. There's not no summer anymore, just fire season. Yes, fire season and not fire season. Feel free to try Rachel Atwood, but I do know there's no guarantee he'll see it. Rich P1K, my town still has an air raid siren, and they decided to set it off today for some reason. Ugh. Did you know one time in Ontario an emergency alert went out by accident that the Pickering nuclear plant was melting down. It went off at like 4 o'clock in the morning. Gave a whole bunch of people heart attacks, but it was an accident that message went out to the emergency alerts. Technology is great until it's not. But yeah, let's see. I just saw a little bit of an email of somebody I'm communicating with, hoping to get an interview with, and I'm like, they're like, oh yeah, Tuesday works. I'm like, do you mean tomorrow Tuesday or next week Tuesday? Because tomorrow I'll do it, but it's kind of quick and I won't want to prep. The Wild West, that wasn't that long ago, the fake nuclear disaster. Yeah. I can't even remember if I got it on my phone or not. Because I think I'm far enough away from Pickering that it wasn't an issue. But yeah. It can be scary. It can be scary. But yeah, I want to thank everyone for coming out on this unscheduled kind of impromptu live stream. I just figured since I'm going to be talking a lot about Nova Scotia, I might as well, you know, go to the source. I like doing that. I like when I'm talking about something in particular to bring on people that it's directly affecting, because who's better to tell us on what's going on in Nova Scotia than someone who lives in Nova Scotia? And it's always nice just talking to Mark whenever. But yeah. So I IM'd Owen Jones today on Instagram, but the other thing is trying to reach him on Twitter through adding him, tagging him. It's virtually impossible. That guy loves to argue. I've been getting notifications for him, and he gets into arguments. He gets so many notifications on Twitter. I'm sure he just, it would just be zooming past if I tagged him. Oh. Rachel Atwood, no fake nuclear disaster will ever beat the Norwegian rocket incident. Well, there was a time that I remember there was an alert in Hawaii that they were about to get attacked by missiles from like North Korea or something. And people were freaking out. Or was it Chinese missiles or something? But there was, yeah, there was an alert that went out that they were about to get attacked by missiles, and people were freaking out, and then other people not taking it seriously. And that's what worries me, is the people who don't take it seriously, because part of the reason why the Texas floods killed so many people were they were so sick of the alerts, a lot of them didn't take them seriously. And you also, in hurricane country, you have a lot of people who have been through hurricanes before that weren't that severe. So then when there's like alert for people to get out because of a hurricane arriving, they're like, nah, it's nothing. It's nothing. It's the cry wolf thing. And then one time, the next time would be the one that they should have taken it seriously. So it's important to always take it seriously, be aware. You know, check the source. I've had lots of tornado alerts on my phone, so I go outside and I check to see, okay, what's the viability of a tornado hitting my area, like specifically my building type thing. But with things like a hurricane or a tornado, there's not much you can do other than like, okay, so I'm just going to go into a closet. Like, we don't have tornado shelters around here. I live in an apartment building. I don't have access to a basement. It would basically be going into my bathroom, into the tub, in hoping that I can drag all 3 of my cats with me into it. Like, that's the best route that I can go. Other than maybe going down into the laundry room, but the laundry room is on the main floor, but there's no windows. That's the thing. You want to go to an interior room that has no windows, and if you can get into something like a bathtub, then you do that. You see, natural disasters used to be my special interest, so I can tell you about this is where you should be when said disaster happens. Lanier, you're my disaster. You're my Lanier. Get down. Down. Get down. Come on. Over here. Over here. Come here. People want no. You get off of that shelf. Okay. Oh. Yeah, tornadoes can happen so suddenly that there's not much you can do to prepare. It's not like you can just hop in your car and flee them. Earthquakes, again, they're so sudden that, you know, get under a sturdy table or something. But if you're in an apartment building on a higher level, there's not much you can do. Get into the stairwell if you can. Like if you have a regular stairwell, not one that, but like a column stairwell. Do not go in the elevator. Hurricanes, it's best if you can leave, but a lot of people don't want to leave their possessions and belongings behind, which I understand because looters are just, you want to know what's happening to your property, if it's getting destroyed or not. But, you know, if they're telling you to flee because there's a wildfire approaching, you flee. Because it can go from, oh, it's way over there to it's in your backyard in the matter of minutes. So if you get a warning for a wildfire to flee, you flee. You take your most immediate needs or things with you and you flee. Let's see. Rachel Atwood. Owen used to do a lot of more shows on YouTube. If you caught him there with a super chat, he would absolutely listen. He's finishing a book now, though, so it isn't active on YouTube. Yeah, I've been watching a lot of his recent videos, so I know he's been on working on a book, so he's not been that active. He didn't ask me anything, but it was like a few years ago. But I might do a super chat in that case, to let him know. And by that time, it might be for his 42nd birthday. By the time he sees it. Let's see. Rachel Atwood doing research in cooperation with the U.S. and it wasn't properly communicated to Moscow. The Kremlin thought it looked like the U.S. was launching a nuclear missile from Norway at Russia. Oh, in 1995. It just so happened that the Yeltsin was sober enough to read the memos and charts and determine that it was inconclusive and said to hold off launching a retaliatory missile until getting confirmation. Yeah. Hello, Miss Felony Strutter? Do I have it here? Do I have it on this one? Do I not? I don't think I have it on here. I should upload it. Just a second. As I get an image. No, I want an image. I don't think I have it. Is it that existing? No, I don't think. Image. Cancel. Image. I'm going to do this. Image. And I do this. And then I hit browse. And I go over here. Live streams. It should be in this one. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? You'll understand in just one moment what I'm trying to do. I don't have it in this one. I thought it was here. And become a member, book cover, book. Darn it, where is it? Oh, here it is. There we go, right there. I suppose I can make it smaller and squish it up top or something. Will it fit? Let's make it fit right in there. Right in there. This is how bad I am with names. There we go. Looks good right there, huh? point to the sign. But welcome to the SandBox. Felony like the crime. Okay, stutter like the Kiss song. I had no felony, but um, uh Bad Lefty. I recently learned that cats can't taste sugar, so don't crave sweet foods like we humans do. You know, come to think of it, they usually go for like the popcorn. I had one cat that loved popcorn. So I would have to give her a kernel of popcorn every now and then when I was eating popcorn. But they do tend to like the savory stuff. Rachel Atwood, cats like ice cream, but I think it might be the milk fact they're drawn to. Yeah, probably. Bad Lefty. Yeah, it's kind of horrifying how close we've come to a world-ending nuclear exchange due to false alerts over the years. Yeah. Miss Felony Strutter, Russia is not the enemy. I have many Russian friends from hockey. The enemy is Israel and our own country. You said you were from the States? Yeah, filthy PA. Israel is no friend, that's for sure. And I have issues with my country. A lot of my channel is about that. Oh no, why did you do that, Miss Felony Strutter? Hello, see Chank's new lie about the trans community. Ugh. What is it now? I've, is it on Twitter? Yeah. I hope to get my video done. Now that my mood has been improving because it was in a really low spot for a little over a month, but it seems to be a little bit more on the upswing, so I should be able to work on my TYT video project more. It's I need to get it done, so I don't have to think about it anymore. Absolutely, the Team Canada 5. That's that's a horrible story. I didn't cover it too much until, well, I didn't cover it too much. One is just because I struggle with stories like that about the hockey players and the situation. But I did cover it not too long ago when the ruling came out that they were cleared of all charges. It doesn't mean they weren't guilty. Like, it doesn't mean they were innocent in that. Miss Felony Strutter, he said at the end of Jubilee, a trans woman wanted to join the WNBA. Oh, so his trans women in sports bullshit. He's always on about that. That will be mentioned in my video essay. So frustrating how he just refuses to listen to anyone who talks to him about it. Because it's just, yeah. Like, maybe if he meant more trans women than other than the Zionists they keep connected to the network for some unknown reason, he might get a broader view. Grand Theft Autobot, breaking news, Supreme Court formally asked to overturn landmark same-sex marriage rule. Why are you guys doing this to me right now? I saw something earlier in the day that they were attempting, I didn't know how far it's gone, and it was based from that one woman who refused to do the marriage and she decided to do the appeal and the Supreme Court was picking up on that woman. Like that one won't, let's see, yeah. I'm talking about Rachel Atwood, about the trans woman that Jank knows who is a raging Zionist. Funny how the Zionists tend to stick around the network. But, you know, people talking about racism and trans folks, they don't, for some reason. Because quite honestly, the only time Brianna Wu talks about trans folks is when she is burning the bridge while she's still on it. Saying really horrible stuff about trans women in general, saying things that someone like me, who is non-binary, doesn't exist. There's no such thing as being non-binary. Yeah. Bad lefty with allies like Jank, who needs enemies. John Martinez, trans athletes make up less than 1% of all athletes. Fascists just bring it up to their idiotic voters again against their own best interests. And I think, was it in when I was live with you guys that I mentioned it, or when I was talking to Mark before we went live, how the right is just constantly seeking things to make into an issue, because trans women have been allowed in Olympic sports for years and years, and it wasn't an issue until suddenly the right wing decided to latch on to it. But before that, trans women were allowed to compete in women's sports in the Olympics. There we go. Why won't you? You can come up. Come on. There we go. We have a Lanier. The Wild West, they want to ban gay marriage and enforce marrying 12-year-olds. Yeah. The amount of states that allow you to marry children is quite disgusting. But it's not exactly great up here in Canada. I'm just saying. A lot of people don't know that here in Canada, well, let's just say a lot of average people, all the pedophiles know, PDF files, I should say, on a live stream, they all know what the age of consent here is in Canada. And the age of consent in Canada is 16. It doesn't make it right. So at the age of 16, a child can consent to any adult whatsoever, unless the adult is in a position of authority, like a teacher or a counselor or something of that sort. Then it's a little bit more gray area. And then there's close age clauses for down to the age of 12. So within 2 years, so a 12-year-old and a 14-year-old, that sort of thing. And below the age of 12, zero ability to consent whatsoever. But at the age of 16, it's consent. Doesn't matter. And that was only changed in 2008. It was raised to 16 from 14 in 2008 because a man traveled from the States up to Canada to have sex with a 14-year-old boy. And when the parents found out, there was nothing the parents could do about it. And the man was charged going back into the United States because, not shockingly, he had CP on his devices. And so it was then that they decided to raise it to 16. But I believe it wasn't until like 2018 that sodomy for queer folks was decriminalized under the age of 18. So until then, under the age of 18, queer couples were running into issues. Yeah, it's... With the way this culture is digressing, I almost feel like the age of consent needs to be upped until like 25. Just... But I just, it's a horror. I have issues around, you know, people my age and older looking at children, like just even thinking, well, they're 18, so it's okay. It's like, fuck no. But I don't like big age gaps to begin with. But the idea of, like, let's say a 45-year-old thinking it's okay to hook up with an 18-year-old because they're technically legal, or in this country a 16-year-old because they're it's still wrong. It is wrong. Kind of like the hockey players. They weren't charged with a crime, they were let off, but what they did was still wrong. They just weren't found, they didn't meet the requirements to be found guilty. And partly the judge saying that, I just didn't believe the victim, probably had something to do with it. She just didn't seem credible. The judge saying that. Oh, here, I need to de-stress with Lanier. Here we go, cute kitty. So the person is Kim Davis brought the appeal. Okay, so that's actually gone through Grand Theft Autobot. Gee, I wonder how they're going to vote. So what's going to happen in that situation is, will it be all states? Probably not. So it'll be picking and choosing states. And so you could probably still get married in one state and go back to a state that denies it, but I believe something was put in place where they would still at least have to recognize it. So you wouldn't be able to get married in, let's say, I don't know if Kentucky is one of them. Maybe. So if you're a queer couple, you might be able to go to California, get married. And if you go back to Kentucky, they should still have to legally recognize it as a marriage, but you just can't get it done in Kentucky is my understanding, but I tend to focus on the Canadian politics side of things, so I don't know. Let's see, Miss Felony, fact, made for TV movie in 1984. QB Princess with Helen Hunt was about a girl playing high school football. Since the 70s, girls played football and hockey on boys' teams if there was no girls' team. Actually, that rings a bell, that option. It rings a bell that was a thing. Yeah. Rachel Atwood, Jesse Earl made several great videos a couple years ago about the intricacies of transgender participants in sports. Jesse Earl or Jesse Gender? There's lots and lots of great videos about having like trans women on sports and stuff of that sort. Lots of interesting threads. I've covered it plenty on my channel as well. Basically, people like Jank can't comprehend what estrogen does to a body. Full stop. He can't comprehend the changes a body will go through. Because all he pictures trans women being is himself with a dress. That's it. He doesn't understand what hormones do to a body. And especially if someone gets the proper hormones during puberty, the differences biologically are, the sex organs, that's about it. But if teenagers get the hormones needed for their proper puberties, then when they become adults, the margin of difference or something is so minuscule, because those that receive the estrogens will have smaller bones, more curvy stuff going on. Those that get the testosterone will grow taller, get more muscular, have the deepened voice and stuff. Like the bone structure is literally different if you go through the proper puberty. But, a lot of these freaks don't want children to go through the proper puberty because then it's harder for them to transition and fit in later on in life after they've gone through a traumatic puberty. Because once the bones have changed, there's not much you can do about it. other than like, you know, there are some like face surgeries that are really invasive, where you're breaking bones. But when it comes to like certain bulkiness and height and things of that sort, shoulders and all that, there's not much you can do once you've gone through puberty. I've got a cute kitty here. Come on, come on, come on. My Lanier. You know, people like to see your face when I'm holding you up, because he has the cutest little shark fin goatee. There we go. Oop. There we go. You can see it. Anyway, I believe the Letter Hack show has probably started by now, because I'm sure I successfully rambled for 20 minutes. So I think I will let everyone go, and you will instantly be transported over to the Letter Hack. We're going to give him a good old-fashioned raid. All of these things, don't forget, buy my book. Please buy my book. I've sold one since the last Wednesday that Minuet was on this space. And I said if I sold 5, I would read more of my book. So I need to sell 5 more. And Minuet will read part of this book on my space, or on this space. Keep in mind, I call it my space, on this space. And I will be on this space this Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern. Please send me emails or messages. Let me know if there's anything in particular you'd like to hear me talk about on Wednesday. Maybe even this verdict. I could get more information in on it. Yeah. So you can catch me on this space on Wednesday. I will probably be doing my regular news live stream Sunday afternoon, evening. And in the meantime, I'm hoping to do a lot of work on my TYT videos. And I'm hoping to arrange an interview with somebody that I'm interested in interviewing. And if you watch my channel, you'll probably know who this person is. I'm super excited about it if it actually happens. I don't want to say who yet in case for some reason it cancels out. So with all of that, I will do I have the, no, I'm on this screen. I will do the salut, à la prochaine. Thank you for watching and stay tuned. I'm Sandy, wishing your tomorrow is better than your today.